The Texas megachurch loomed large against the horizon, its towering steeples slicing into the clear blue sky. The church was a marvel of modern architecture, blending traditional ecclesiastical designs with contemporary aesthetics. Its cavernous interior could seat tens of thousands, and today it was filled to capacity. Every pew was packed, every corner occupied, the atmosphere electric with anticipation. The air buzzed with murmurs and the occasional flash of cameras. Reporters lined the balconies, their lenses aimed at the altar, ready to capture a moment that promised to make history. Elon Musk, the world-renowned inventor and billionaire, was about to take the stage. The man known for his groundbreaking innovations and ventures into space, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy had announced his intention to publicly embrace faith. The revelation had sent shockwaves through social media, igniting debates and speculation. Was this a publicity stunt? A genuine epiphany? A midlife crisis? Musk himself had offered no explanation, maintaining an enigmatic silence that only fueled the intrigue. The choir began to sing, their voices harmonizing in a hymn that reverberated through the vast hall. The sound was both celestial and grounding, an ode to salvation that resonated deeply with the congregation. The pastor, a charismatic figure with a booming voice and a commanding presence, stood at the altar. His robes were immaculate, his expression one of serene confidence. When Musk finally walked onto the stage, the murmurs ceased. The crowd watched as he approached the lectern, his steps measured, his demeanor uncharacteristically solemn. Dressed in a sleek black suit, Musk looked different. The usual spark of mischief in his eyes was replaced with contemplation. As he gripped the polished oak lectern, he scanned the crowd, his lips pressing into a thin line as he prepared to speak. In the front row, a boy sat quietly, his presence easy to overlook amidst the sea of adults. His name was Theo. Wild auburn hair framed his freckled face, and his piercing green eyes seemed far too old for his age. Theo was an orphan, shuttled between foster homes for as long as he could remember. His current caretaker had brought him here, hoping the service might offer him some solace. But Theo wasn't here for the sermon. From the moment he entered the sanctuary, he had felt it. A dark, oppressive energy that seemed to cling to the walls, the air, and most disturbingly, Elon Musk himself. As the pastor raised his hands to quiet the congregation, Theo's unease reached its peak. The boy's hands clenched the edge of the pew, his knuckles turning white. When Musk began to speak, his voice calm and measured, Theo couldn't hold back any longer. "Stop!" Theo's voice rang out, high and clear, cutting through the solemn atmosphere like a blade. The congregation froze, all eyes turning toward the boy. A ripple of gasps spread through the crowd, and the pastor's outstretched hands faltered. Even Musk, unflappable as he was, looked startled. His gaze found Theo, his eyebrows furrowing. "There's something dark behind him!" Theo shouted, his voice trembling but resolute. Security guards in dark suits began moving toward the boy, their faces stern and professional. Theo's caretaker tried to pull him back, whispering urgent pleas for him to stop. But Theo wouldn't budge. His eyes were locked on the space just behind Musk, his small frame trembling with fear. "What are you talking about?" the pastor asked, stepping forward. His tone was gentle, but there was an edge of unease in his voice. Theo's gaze didn't waver. "It's not human," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's angry, and it's waiting." The pastor's frown deepened, and he glanced at Musk, who stood motionless, his expression unreadable. Musk's logical mind rejected the boy's claims outright. Yet there was something about Theo's intensity that made him pause. The congregation erupted into murmurs, some looking around nervously, others dismissing the boy as delusional. "I've seen a lot of unusual things in my life," Musk finally said, his voice calm but firm. "But I don't believe in ghosts or dark presences." Theo's eyes flashed with frustration. "You don't see it because it doesn't want you to," he said. "But it's there. It's clinging to you." The pastor raised a hand to calm the growing unrest among the congregation. "Perhaps we should pray," he said, his voice steady. "If this is something unholy, prayer can banish it." Musk hesitated, his instincts battling with the surreal circumstances. Finally, he nodded. The pastor gestured for the congregation to bow their heads, and the murmurs of prayer filled the sanctuary. But Theo didn't bow his head. His eyes remained fixed on the empty space behind Musk, his body rigid as if bracing for something. The presence didn't fade. If anything, it seemed to grow stronger, feeding off the collective energy in the room. The air grew colder, heavier, and the light streaming through the stained glass windows seemed to dim. Theo's voice broke the silence. "It's not gone," he whispered. "It's just waiting." Musk left the church an hour later, the boy's words echoing in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling of unease, the nagging doubt that there might be something more to Theo's claims. As he returned to his sprawling compound on the outskirts of Austin, he found no solace in the familiar surroundings. The state-of-the-art facility, with its cutting-edge security systems and AI-powered automation, felt eerily quiet. "Aurora!" Musk called out, his voice breaking the silence. His AI assistant responded immediately, its tone smooth and measured. "Good evening, Mr. Musk. How can I assist you?" "Run a system-wide diagnostic," he ordered, his voice clipped. "Running diagnostics," Aurora replied. As he waited, the lights flickered just for a moment. Musk frowned, setting his glass of whiskey down. "Aurora, what was that?" There was a pause before the AI responded. "A minor power fluctuation. Diagnostics indicate no critical issues." But Musk wasn't convinced. There was something unsettling about the delay in Aurora's response, the faint distortion in its voice. The lights flickered again, more insistently this time, and the screens on his desk began to glitch. A low hum filled the room, growing louder until it was a vibrating thrum that Musk could feel in his chest. "Aurora, what's happening?" he demanded. The AI's voice returned, but it was different now, distorted and layered with static. "They are watching," it said. Musk's blood ran cold. "Who's watching?" The room plunged into darkness. Elon Musk couldn't sleep throughout the night. Theo's words from the church kept echoing in his mind. "That thing is here, and it's waiting." The notion that these words were not the mere imagination of an ordinary child shattered Elon's logical and scientific worldview. He found himself facing a situation he couldn't rationalize or fit into his framework of understanding. By morning, Elon, with an impatient expression, decided to find Theo. Closing off the outside world to this peculiar encounter at the church, he assembled a private team. Theo was located, and that morning, Elon and Theo met inside a private vehicle. Theo appeared like any other child, but his demeanor, his words, and especially his eyes deeply affected Elon. Theo's green eyes, shaped by the hardships of his life, carried an unexpected sense of wisdom and courage. "So, Theo, I want you to explain exactly what you said. That energy in the church, that thing." "What was it?" Elon asked, watching Theo intently. Theo's voice was surprisingly calm. "It's hard to put into words. But that energy is ancient, very old, and it's a darkness unlike anything else. It's different from anything I've ever felt before. It seemed to be clinging to you, but it was watching you." Elon took a deep breath, clasping his hands on the table in front of him. "It was watching me, was it?" he asked quietly. "Is that even possible? Could this be explained scientifically?" Theo shook his head. "This isn't scientific, but it's something you can sense, or at least some of us can. I don't know, but it disrupts everything, energies, spaces. It's not of this world." Elon thought of Aurora, his AI assistant, the anomalies from the previous night, the trembling systems, screens that suddenly went dark, Aurora's strange tone. Could this be connected to the darkness Theo mentioned? Theo, I trust you, but I need more to investigate this. I need your instincts as well. Was the energy you felt in the church also present in my tech environment? Theo paused for a moment. Yes, definitely. Your surroundings are affected by it too. But the energy in the church? There's something deeper there. Elon decided to take Theo to his lab. He gathered his engineers for a meeting and asked if there were any detected threats or anomalies in their systems. However, no scientific evidence supported Theo's claims. But something lingered. Aurora's unsettling words. They are watching us. As Theo walked around the lab, he gently moved his hands through the air. I can feel it here, he said suddenly. But it's not like in the church, it's weaker. It's coming from somewhere outside this place. There's a source. Elon sprang into action. They decided to track the source Theo had sensed. Yet Theo had a feeling that this entity had somehow attached itself to Elon, planting roots within him. It wasn't just observing. It might have been attempting to control him. As they left the lab, Theo suddenly turned to Elon and said, "The only way to defeat this thing is to find its source and sever it. But it won't be easy. It's going to be dangerous." Elon's world was built on science and technology, but the darkness Theo spoke of was beyond such things. They stood on the brink of a battle that science couldn't fight. Yet Elon had a motto: if a problem has a solution, we can find it. And this time, the solution would rely on Theo's guidance. Would Theo's mysterious abilities merge with Elon's intelligence? Or was the darkness too powerful, ready to consume them both? This was just the first step toward the solution, but the path ahead was long and filled with dangers.